if she pushes the button within the 24-hour period, then two things will happen. First, somewhere, someone they do not know in the world will die. And two is that they will get $1 million in cash tax-free. And they have 24 hours to make the decision. If they don't, then the button will be taken and the offer will be made to someone else. There's a moral dilemma. That is one that I think is very, on the surface, it's very easy to say, oh yeah, I know exactly what I would do, you know, and some people are, I would absolutely push the button, and other people are like, I would absolutely not. I think it's very sort of polarized, you know, it's like, it's very difficult to, but then I think when people start to think about it, you know, when you really start to talk about it, it really, I don't think it's as easy to make that decision. And I think it's very difficult for Norma and Arthur to make that decision, just even as a concept. But the reality of it for them is even more challenging, obviously. You know, Norma gets to push that button and somebody else pays for it. It's not true. It never is. And you never get anything for free. Somewhere down the line, you have to pay for it. He is such a man, you know, he's so strong, he's so powerful, but he's so kind, and he's so honorable, and genuine and giving, and has a wonderful charm about him. And he really is sort of this sort of, you know, you think of who's an astronaut, you know what I mean? Like, in my mind, I think of like, you know, who's the guy who takes the rocket up to outer space, and it's all of that. Jimmy's like the very charismatic, athletic, powerful, righteous, you know, knows all the right things, you know, smart. He's the villain, and Frank did such a great job as keeping him a gentleman, someone who is just doing his job, and he kept him as a real human being at the same time, even though he has this deformity. And the voice of Arlington is, I think, what is so important. It's how he says everything. It's a way he conveys himself, because he's a perfect gentleman, and he insinuates nothing with his voice, and when he does, then you know exactly what he means. You're not going to ever see another movie with this concept played out this way by this filmmaker. It's just, it's an incredibly unique story, and I would go to see it to see whether or not at the end of the movie, whether or not you would push the button.
Well, when I first read the script, first of all, I went into it knowing what Richard had done already. I'd seen Donnie Darko, and I was a big fan of his movie. I had not seen Southland Tales at the time, but when I took that into consideration when I was going forth, like starting reading the script. And you know, when I approach a script, I try and do it with in a completely unbiased way, where I'm not, you know, picturing myself as the character and just sort of see what the script, what the story has to offer me, and what sort of ride it takes me on. And it was fascinating how the beginning of the script, you think you're going to get something, and then you get something else, and then you get something else, and then you get something else completely. And it's completely multifaceted. There's a hint of concern, you know, because hypothetically, if this was real, you know, they do examine, you know, each other, and in a sense that, you know, let's just pretend this is real. Are we comfortable being responsible for the death of another human being because we can make ourselves rich by pressing a button? To him, you know, he's very cynical about the whole thing. He doesn't believe that it's, you know, this is a box. I mean, this is like, you know, to him, it's like not believing in the Big Bang Theory, you know. It's like it's a faith. It's a blind faith in something, you know. And so he plays detective and looks at all of the tangible elements of the situation, which is a $100 bill, you know, which he goes and tests at NASA because he has the capacity to and the tools to at NASA to test to see if it's a counterfeit bill, and he starts to evaluate, you know, what this guy's objective is and what his intentions are, and you know, and then like, should I call the cops? It's always like realistic, practical approach from Arthur, and he becomes a believer slowly throughout the rest of the film, which is, I think, his path that he takes. He doesn't take the easy road. I mean, he looks at something and says, all right, well, here's what the obvious way to play this character. And, you know, because this character could very easily be sort of, you know, over the top or highbrow or, you know, whatever. And Frank adds so many more levels of reality to it that just ultimately end up making it more interesting and more engaging. So he's a pro. He knows exactly. You know, you give the same music to 10 different musicians, and you'll hear 10 different songs. You know, and Frank is always the one that's playing the most interesting symphony. Richard's conviction for this project is everything. He sets the ultimate tone on the set, and if you've seen any of his other films, you know, which you know, when I saw Donnie Darko, it was so impactful on me that he was just one of those directors that, you know, every actor wants to work with, and you want to be, whether you can explain it or not, his method to his madness or whatever, or genius or whatever you want to call it, you want to be in his world. He's one of those directors that I just want to be a part of your world. Everyone wants to push a button and have it. You know, you push a button and you're in credit card debt. You know, you push a button and everything happens for you. You don't have to get your ass up off of the couch to change the channel for anything.
No, there isn't any explanation of who he is or what he is or where he's from or who he works for or whether or not, you know, this is a man who's been hit by lightning, and it's really, I think, all you need to say about him is he's been hit by lightning, and he's not the same as he was before he was hit by lightning. So everything he says, everything that comes out of him is as a result of that, and you don't know if someone's talking to him, if he's talking to himself, who's giving him his orders, who's telling him to do what he's doing. Half of me is gone in this film. Half of my face is gone, and in order for that effect to work, I had to spend the last 3 months being painted green on that portion of my face which is gone, and then having small dots, about 36 of them, on strategic places all over my face, so that when they get to computer generating me, they know exactly where every plane of my face is, so that they can wipe it away and create Arlington's appearance. As I said, it must have been funny for Jimmy Marsden and Cameron Diaz to have to look at my green face every day. It was a delight for me, because they're two of the prettiest people that ever walked the planet. So all I had to do was come in every day and stare at these two beautiful young actors. I thought Donnie Darko was the work of a really first-class, unique mind. I thought it was an independent spirit mind, if you want to use that phrase like the award is. Just someone who thinks, forgive the expression, thinks out of the box, you know, really thinks in a particular, unique way. And I thought, and I hadn't met him yet when I saw it. I think we'd only had one conversation on the phone. So, and then when I met him, his complete, he's just immersed in it. He's just completely, you know, morning, noon, and night, this particular kind of otherworldly thing is clicking through his brain. You can sort of see it. That's always attractive, you know, especially when you've been around a long time, as I have, and you love, I still love making films, I still love doing plays.
Walter is Cameron Diaz's and James Marsden's son, and he fits into the story because Frank Langella, who plays Arlington Stewart, only picks families with a husband, a wife, and one kid. And Walter realizes that something bad is going on. He doesn't know the specifics, and just every couple of things that he sees his parents in, he just knows that something bad's going on. It's a great experience working with such an accomplished actor because she gives me so much input, and we joke around. Everyone thinks that, if you hang out with Cameron, then but we always were joking around. We always have fun, and it's just such a great experience to work with someone who's been through so much, who can tell you stories. It's amazing.
This nice couple who are struggling a little bit financially, especially once Arthur finds out that he didn't get the promotion that he thought he was going to get. His wife Norma's a school teacher. We all know what school teachers make, and so there's a bit of a financial struggle. Not hardship, but then things are going a downer when he doesn't get the job, and this strange person, Mr. Arlington Stewart, calls them and tells them that he would like to come by at 5 o'clock the next day. And it seems strange that this guy's calling, but they do meet with him at 5 o'clock, and he tells them that he's brought a box, and he tells them that if they so choose, they may push the button on this box and it will kill someone when they do that, and they'll receive $1 million. He allows things to happen, and he's not locked into his own vision as a writer, and as a director, it's great for me to work with him because now we don't really even have to speak that much.
It's been great. For me, it's been a departure from the sort of films I've done before. And I've really enjoyed working with him. It's really great to come in with someone has a very specific vision of what they want to do and has this complete world that they're creating in terms of the visual style and the field of the film. And I really just trust him, so it's fun to come in and sort of hand yourself over to him. So it's been a really great experience. Cameron is just lovely and gracious and generous and funny and so easy to be around, and James is the exact same way. I mean, they're hilarious, but I also think that the moment the camera turns on, they're there and they're giving your performance 100%.
This sort of package and this mysterious offer made by Arlington Stewart presents them with an opportunity to escape all that, and it makes them sort of reevaluate everything about their lives and sort of think whether or not there is something better out there, something else that they might want, and becomes a test of their marriage and a test of their survival instincts and their ability to what are they willing to sacrifice, ultimately, to undo what has been done by pushing this button? There is obviously a series of of games that are played in order to manipulate Arthur and Norma into feeling as though they really need to push the button. The circumstances of things that happen at her school and things that happen at work with Arthur sort of put them in a position of feeling exposed and vulnerable, and as though that their lives are unfulfilled at the moment, and that they might actually really need this money and what it could do for them. And the temptation is ultimately there, and it doesn't make them immoral people at all. It makes them curious. I think Cameron is doing things in this film with her performance that she's never done before in her entire career. This is the first time she's ever played a mom. She's never done a Southern accent before, and she's never been in a thriller, a genre like this before. So I feel like we're seeing a new side of Cameron that she hasn't exposed before, and that's just really exciting for me to see her go to this other place. With Jimmy Marsden, it's great to see him bring Arthur to life and see how he's also doing a Southern accent, and he's really bringing a lot of charisma and charm and a likability to the character, and I think his chemistry with Cameron is really coming off in a way that I'm happy with. I think Frank saw as a combination of Fred Astaire, coming in and having to work his way into the house and be the charming salesman, and then he has to be kind of the heavy and deliver the tough news, the tough reality, and then there's the whole different side of Arlington that you see when he's in his lair and his domain, and he's sort of dealing with the people he has to boss around, and Teague and some of the others. So I certainly feel as though Frank is giving Arlington the full dimension that we've always wanted, but keeping him within the constraints of a man who's just here to do a job. You come onto Langley now, and it still feels very much like it did in the 70s. And it feels like it's been preserved as kind of like a time capsule. And it's been a wonderful thing to come back here, and all the great people who work here, and all of the amazing work that they do, and to be able to sort of recreate Langley the way that it was in 1976, and sort of the time at which they might say were the glory days of when it was the height of activity here, really.
Well, Arlington Stewart says it best in the film. We live in a box. We're in a box right now. We watch a box all day at home. We drive to work in a box. We work in a box. We sleep on a box, in a box. We die and get put in a box. I mean, it's just a metaphor for the world. It's the world that we live in. We're always constantly putting ourselves in boxes. So it just kind of extrapolated out of that. It's interesting because James' career is, not that it's like taking off now, obviously, and he's never done a role like this, and I think when people see this film, they'll see, wow, he really has the full range of being able to play any part he wants. He's fantastic. We sat in a room, we started throwing out names, and they said, oh, Cameron Diaz is available. And we looked at each other and we thought, we'll never get Cameron Diaz, but let's, try. Let's take a shot. And, she read the script. It took a while. She always takes her time deciding what movie she's going to do. And, it was a couple months, but every day we were calling the representation saying, we don't want to bug you, but, has she read it yet? And then she read it and she liked it. And then she met with Richard, and then she was still deciding. And, every day we were just sitting there staring at the phone, waiting, like, is she going to say yes? Is she going to say yes? And she said yes, and it was, obviously, it's Cameron Diaz, so your movie gets made right away. She's the reason we're all here. He's a legend in a lot of ways, and he's such a big presence, and he's very elegant in the way that he exists. And we felt that Arlington Stewart should be a very elegant salesman. He's almost a door-to-door salesman, and someone that has the elegance and charisma that could actually make this offer sound very attractive, make pushing this button sound very attractive. And Frank's a big guy. He's very, very tall, and to have someone with that presence that could loom over Arthur and Norma as well was something that we loved. And he just has this unique ability to kind of enrapture, bring you into his world when he's talking to you, and it really comes off in the character.
because the story is tied to Richard and his father, and his father used to work here at NASA, and because it was so authentic to the period still in a lot of places, it still felt, you know, very 1970s.
Visita mi canal.
It was important that to Richard again that we found a way to make it work, and luckily it all worked out, and everybody's been great. I think to me my favorite part of Dailies actually is always when Cameron and Jimmy are together. The two of them, I had one day that I had been absolutely buried in stuff on the telephone in the office, and I came down to the set and they were doing the scene where they were pushing the button on the box. And I just stood there and I watched for about half an hour, and it made me go, okay, this is why I do this, because they were so great together and they were just wonderful to watch work together, and they really are a great couple together in this movie.
Split your lip, keep jawing like you are. Help me open this. What kind of car was it?
I don't know, I couldn't see.
Oh. Oh, you need a key to open it.
There's a note.
Looks like a wedding invitation. It's a bridesmaid gift from one of the pals.
Mr. Stewart will call upon you at 5 p.m. Do you know Mr. Stewart?
I do. Do you? Some sort of bridesmaid gift from the palace?
Mr. Stewart will call upon you at 5 p.m. Do you know Mr. Stewart?
I don't. Do you?
What the hell is it?
I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
Let's look at the wood grain and see if we can get it back to the same.
What is it?
Someone left a box.
Who?
There was a car, but it drove off. Is it a Christmas present? Let's get some coffee.
Yes, coffee.
Come on down.
Got it!
You can tell.
Well, you can definitely immediately meet this character as she's walking. I think it's nice. I mean, it shouldn't be any heavier than
Yeah,
that.
it shouldn't be so
It
exaggerated.
shouldn't be any more bigger than that. I think it was fine.
Okay. Because, like, even, you know, it just
It
looks
could
like,
also play to the average viewer like
I'm
she's
tired.
so tired
Yeah.
and out of it, you know, still from sleeping. But I thought it was fine.
okay. Someone left a box. I'm marking.
Can we just get a couple marks here?
So looking camera right.
I love it!
Okay.
All right, wait, let me mark them. Cut!
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to take.
And set. Set.
You ready and action, please.
So, what does this mean for Estelle?
It means she's going to rot in hell.
She's a slut who married for money and then killed her baby.
Cut!
Check the chip.
Yeah, I think so. How many takes we do that? 4. We play back 2.
That was one.
2. Brother, and then where does she rest? Hold on one second here. And, all right, let's go right away, please. We'll fix that. You dropped the 9%.
Y tus trailers. Visita mi canal.
Why does your mom want? It's none of your business.
And then you can turn and go off. Ready?
Checking any other votes? Just again, please, just again.
The NSA is letting him do it. NASA can't stop it. Test subjects are all under 40, happily married with a single child. Go to the Richmond Public Library, follow this call number. Don't trust anyone, not even your husband.
She's bleeding. I just wonder sometimes if maybe we don't take for granted that you're all right. I mean, are you?
I'm fine, Mama. I'm fine, okay? Doing just fine.
Well, I have to worry.
The NSA is letting him do it. NASA can't stop it. Test subjects are all under 40, happily married with a single child. Go to the Richmond Public Library, follow this call number. Don't trust anyone, not even your husband.
Oh, my Lord. She's bleeding. Somebody call for help.
Good. And background moving and action, please. Ready, 2, 1. Ready, and camera, truck, action! Door. Action! Door. Gimme.
If we find water beneath the surface, and the orbiter photos of Utopia Planitia prove that there were once rivers on the surface of the planet, it's quite possible we'll eventually find evidence of life.
And who are you?
Arthur Lewis. I used to work in the optics lab. I helped design the camera.
Yeah, any other questions? Yes, the lady in front there. Mars offers the first opportunity to gain another perspective in the cosmic history of planetary chemistry. Are there any questions? Yes, in the back. Rhonda?
Yes. Can you elaborate on the soil tests?
If we find water beneath the surface, and the orbiter photos of Utopia Planitia indicate that there were once rivers on the surface of the planet, it's possible we'll eventually find evidence of life.
And who are you?
Arthur Lewis. I used to work in the optics lab. I helped design the camera.
Okay, cut.
It's quite possible we'll eventually find evidence of life.
And who are you?
Arthur Lewis. I used to work in the optics lab. I helped design the camera.
Very nice.
Like that, so it's not blocking.
There's a note with a wedding invitation.
Yeah, looks like wedding. It looks like a wedding invitation.
I was thinking maybe it's a surprise for you. You're playing trailer, like the knife cutting it open, and the thing revealing it for the first time is.
It's cool.
Also,
I'd love to make it so Jody doesn't have to tip the camera up to.
well, that was pretty good.
That was pretty close, but.
Okay.
So we're not having to do it for his stand-up so much.
And that was pretty good. It was
Yeah,
not as much.
we'll work. That line maybe could come out a little faster. Yeah.
Since we know we're doing it once,
Yeah.
let's get a couple more. You think?
It's great though.
I also took this way.
All right, resetting. We'll go
And be
again.
mindful of my cutout point is I don't know, do you not getting your mouth covered with the coffee mug at the end of that if I wanted to just
Watch this while you're eating like patient. You can't do that, right?
I've asked before. That's what
I think it's 40 minutes to get ready. So you do this, then I'll set up for this at the same time, do this. Remember that?
You'll leave him 70 degrees past.
So he's just finishing the speech and he's going to hand the mic off. Wow. Or he's going to come up and take the mic. That's such a boy. Norma is next. Come on up, Norma, basically. It's a gesture towards her. And then Deborah will then give a motivational gesture, like pushing her, egging her on to go up to make a speech, even though she obviously does not want to. So that just kind of helps the situation along. And Holmes, you need to actually come up and start approaching earlier. As you can see, she's starting to kind of break down a little bit, so you should start coming up earlier.
Guys, 54 or something?
No, it's nothing to do with that.
I think there's spaghetti or all they're throwing You don't want to gas fire. You know what I mean? We're still a little irritated he's asking that question, but yeah.
And he should deliver his line.
Yeah, and then it starts going, it's just, I said, and it's down, it's just a box, and by the time it gets to the ding dong,
Ding, yeah.
as soon as it raises to the top.
But you're not keeping your hand on it.
No.
Yeah.
Keep it down.
No, but like, and it's just a box as a way of like, okay, well, that's weird that it didn't come back up. It's just a box.
It's ding, and then it's holy shit,
Ding dong. Good, I like that.
All right, here's the first team rehearsal.
Back to
It's a nice little, like, real exchange though.
But I guess we're up has more of a comedic sense, and then comedy is sort of right. I like ending like that.
So you don't want me to say come on down and...
Oh, that's right. Yeah, if you want to do coffee, okay. You do it back, throw them backwards. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Just feel it if it's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
On